How did it look different when you were breaking down a Bagent game than a Fields game?
It didn't really look different offensively at all, in my opinion. And in fact, I would say that the last 3 or 4 games that Getty has called, he's called a pretty decent game, in my opinion. And obviously, the offense was completely different from when we started talking in this year to completely head and heels above than anything we've seen this year in the last 3 or 4 games. And I think it just says a lot about Tyson Bagent for him to be able to come in short notice, 1 week of practice, with guys you haven't thrown to. You're an undrafted rookie free agent. I was impressed with him, and I was impressed with he didn't make any hero throws. There was this one throw across the middle where he made that he got through his 3rd, 4th progression. Thought it was excellent, but he just played within the offense. And I think Justin Fields honestly has been doing that before he dislocated his thumb for the last 2 or 3 games. So in my opinion, the Bears are sort of trending up in terms of offensive production. And then I look at what the Raiders did defensively, and I talked about this today on my podcast, chasing it. It was like, man, if I'm going against a rookie free agent quarterback who has never started a game, who has not played at all, like, why aren't you mixing up looks left and right? Why aren't you coming down from the sky, blitzing safeties, all up alignments, cover zero? Like, the Raiders did none of it and made his job easy. When you can get the run game going, which I thought this was their best game running the ball, they stuck with it. They called screens, they called draws, they called bootlegs, nakeds, quick game. It was all over the board. I thought Luke Getty needs to get his flowers here a little bit, because he called a game in a way that his backup could be successful. And a lot of times coaches don't do that. Now, Tyson went out and did his job correctly, but at the end of the day, like, look, he threw for 100 and some odd yards. He played really well. And what this tells me about Tyson is, hey, I don't think Tyson's going to be this all-world beater starting quarterback in the National Football League. What I do think he did was he bought time, and he made that confidence within the coaching staff pay off and said, hey, we're going to go with this undrafted guy. It seems like the coaching staff knew something we all didn't.
You know, it's interesting. You kind of brought us right to the big picture stuff that lurks on the perimeter, even when we're just kind of dissecting the game. Fields and Bagent together, are you saying that this game plan, was it similar to what they've been asking Fields to do, and just Tyson kind of did it more conservatively and cleaner? Or was it Tyson making choices that ended up registering as more conservatively and cleaner?
I would say the game plan to me, I mean, to a trained eye, it looked the exact same. Now, there was a little bit more, hey, get him out on the edge. There wasn't as much quarterback run, which everyone knows what Justin can do with the ball in his hands. But at the end of the day, I thought it was a good game plan, and it was a better execution. That's exactly what I said on my breakdown in YouTube. I said, hey, Tyson played a really clean game, what we call in the quarterback, just a clean game. That's what we called in the quarterback room, and that's good. That means, hey, you're not making mistakes. You're not making these hero throws. You're not losing us the game. You made a touchdown throw. Like, you're doing enough to move the chains, to stay ahead of the sticks. And listen, they were put in some second and long, some third down spots where he had to make plays, and he did against a defense that, in my opinion, didn't play as well as they probably could have. I mean, the house is on fire in Las Vegas right now because it's blown up in smoke. Because, look, I didn't love their defensive plan, but we're focusing on Bagent right now, and I just felt like he played a clean game. That's exactly how I put it. And it seems easy, right? It seems easy for a listener or for a viewer that is listening or watching us right now to say, hey, just go out and just run the offense, right? Like, people are just like, just go out and run the offense. It's not that easy, because defenses mix it up. There's different pre-snap. Like, he had a lot of pre-snap reads in that game, which I thought he went to the right. He went to the right side. He picked the right side. He's seeing it. He looked calm. He looked cool. He looked collected. And for a guy making his first start, look, that's hard to do. And look, you put it on film, right? You put 65 plays on film. So the Chargers are going to say, okay, so this is what they're sort of doing. You're going to have to continue putting it on film to continue to master this offense.
So do you think Fields could have done what Bagent did against the Raiders?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah. I think the Raiders stunk. I mean, I'm going to be completely honest. Like, look,
okay.
I'm not taking anything away. I think that Tyson played a hell of a game under the circumstances that he had 1 week to practice with the starters. He never got one rep in all of training camp, in all the practices with any of those starting receivers. DJ Moore, Darnell Mooney, he didn't take one snap from Cody Whitehair. Like, so all of the other stuff that could have been a big deal, he made it about the offense and he went out and executed. And that is something that is hard to do.
So we're talking to Chase Daniel. Check it out, Chase Daniel Show, his YouTube page. He does the All-22 breakdowns each and every week. He was pulled at the end of the first half on the Hail Mary attempt for Nathan Peterman. What did you think of the physical? You're putting your arm and moving it around. Like, Bagent was like, oh, don't worry about me. I got a cannon. But, I mean, I'm sorry. If you get pulled for a Hail Mary from your own 46-yard line for Big Nate Peterman, I'm a little concerned about your arm strength. Like, what do you make of the physical traits of Tyson Bagent?
I mean, honestly, on a couple, listen, it's hard to tell from one game and from 20 some odd throws.
That's a hell of an anecdote though, Chase.
Yeah. I mean, it is. And when you look at some of the throws outside the numbers, it had a little bit more zip on it than I probably thought. Like going in, like I didn't know what to expect. So I looked at this film when I opened up my iPad and looked at it from a view of like, I know nothing about you other than your dad is a freaking bad man. like an arm wrestling bad man. And the dude's I mean, it's amazing. I read all about it. I got in this rabbit hole of like reading about his dad. I'm like 28-time world. Like that's insane to me.
Best left-handed arm wrestler ever. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, which is crazy. But I digress and get back to Tyson. And I just thought it was a really, really well-rounded performance I mean, like there's not much else you can say. And his arm strength, like when you look at those throws outside the number, you don't necessarily need all this zip in the world on it. You want to be able to throw on time and in rhythm, not holding the ball, knowing where to go with the ball half the time. Like on a couple out routes that I just put on film, I'm like, hey, there's nothing sexy about it. But on a throw to his right and quick game, he knew exactly where he was going pre-snap. Okay. He's staring once he gets the ball in his hands, he's staring down the middle of the field and just to hold the corner make sure the corner doesn't jump this Omaha route, which is an out route to the sideline. And he did it like a 10-year vet. Like it was nothing. He just looked and then threw and in time and rhythm and easy 8-yard completion, 2nd and 2, like stuff like that. To me, I was impressed with.
So we talked to his coach, Ernie McCook, his coach in college, and Danny asked him for a comp. And the very confident coach said Drew Brees is the comp. Now, obviously, that's high praise. But when you're talking about the arm strength, it's not as if Drew, who you played with under Sean Payton in New Orleans, Drew didn't have a Justin Fields arm or others. So, like, can somebody with Tyson's skills dream of being a QB1 one day?
Yeah, I think you should. I think anyone, and I've talked about this before, just big picture being a backup quarterback. Dude, if you aren't like living, eating, dreaming, sleeping, like trying to be the starter and trying to beat out the starter, then you're in the wrong gig, bro. Like for me, I always wanted to play as long as I could. And I always had that passion. As soon as I lost that passion, which I haven't, the other things came into me stepping away from the sport. But I was just like, hey, look, like I'm good. Like I want to walk away, and I never lost that passion. I always wanted to beat out the starter. And I think that's the biggest thing for these quarterbacks is like, hey, you got to do it in a way that puts your whole spin on things, right? You can't just go in and be like, I'm going to beat you. I'm better than you, Justin Fields. You know, you got to earn your teammates' respect. And on a scramble to the right sideline, like I love that he like ran, he pump faked, he ran for like 14 yards and he ran out of bounds in the end zone and was like pumping up the crowd. To me, that as a teammate, like that gets you fired up. Like go in, show your personality, be yourself, and go out there and just play the game.
Was there, we've talked a little bit about the 3rd and 5 conversion to Tyler Scott on the second drive of the game. We highlighted that play.
I wonder if that's the one he was mentioning as like the third read going across the middle.
Yeah, it was over the middle. That was the exact one. I thought that was super special. Yeah.
Special. Okay. Yeah. Another play we highlighted was the touchdown drive where the 2 plays, I think, before he throws the touchdown pass to Foreman, he's scrambling left and he's about to take a sack and he just drops it off to the fullback, blasting game. Like it felt like he had very impressive just awareness or vision. Is it anything else is from a play 160 yards. Did anything else from an individual play standpoint jump out to you?
I mean, the one you said, I mean, a lot of these plays, like that was like, I look at it from a standpoint of like, hey, this play isn't really sexy. Like I look at the game and I'm like, the game's not sexy to me, but what it is efficient. And that's what coaches like. They prefer you to stay away from the sexy, especially if you're not like a Herbert or a Mahomes or a Hurts or all these like top level quarterbacks just playing within the offense. And I thought he did well. Look, they're in field goal range. The one you're talking about where he drops it off, they're in field goal range. He gets through his third read. Okay. A little flat route to the fullback and to the halfback. And he just says, you know what? It's 3rd and 6. I can't force it. I'm on the edge of field goal range. I can't take a sack. All this is going through his head within 2 seconds. I'm just going to throw it to my flat route, let my playmaker, maybe he'll get it, maybe he won't. He breaks 2 tackles and gets the first down. To me, that is a plus play. When I'm grading the game, I'm like, you're not trying to force anything. You know we have points. You know that the defense is playing well. And you know that, hey, we need points to make this a 2 or 3 score game. To me, all of that goes into it. It's not just like, hey, he's a robot, go back there, throw the ball. He just was in a rhythm. And even though he didn't throw for a lot of yards, he wasn't asked to throw for a lot of yards.
Boy, Chase, maybe you can help me with this. Like that play, the 3rd and 5 play that you're talking about, it's the kind of thing that I struggle believing Justin Fields could do. Just that particular thing. And now he might have scrambled out of it and run for 50 yards. I don't know. Or he might have bought time and done something else. But just the quickness to go through the reads and then get it out in like an awkward body position and just get it out fast that way and just be processing everything that's going on. And like Bagent says, I've played a million games. He's had 7 years of starting, 3 in high school and 4 in college. It's like, I don't know. Can Fields become that kind of quarterback where he just processes it quick, throws it out quick, that kind of thing? Or is it just a different kind of quarterback and we should stop trying to compare them straight up in that way?
I wouldn't compare them. I don't think it's fair to either of them, honestly. And sometimes look, it's one good performance, right? Like what it's, this league is, what have you done for me lately, right? So Tyson is going to go back, watch the film, get better, and try to continue to roll. Let's not like crown him as some like king of Chicago here. And I'm not saying you are, but a lot of people are like, oh, he's the answer. He's this. Look, he played a good game. All right. And honestly, my takeaway from this whole situation, Justin on the sideline watching, sometimes it's good to take a step back and as a starter, just watch the game from the sideline, which you have not done in a long time, and just sort of see it from a different perspective. Sometimes those perspective shifts can help quarterbacks understand, hey, all right, I just saw him do it. Why can't I do that? I don't have to try to make these all-world plays all the time. Sometimes, I'm not saying it can be, but sometimes this could be really, really good for quarterbacks who get hurt, have to be out, have to stay out a couple games, and they can see it from a different perspective.
2 quick things for you, Chase. What would you expect from the Bears offense and Tyson Bagent against the Chargers?
Well, they're going to continue to run the ball because the Chargers are just in too high safety about 85% of the time. So if you're looking I'm going to call it how it is. Like I love my Chargers guys, but if you're looking at it from a Chicago Bears offensive standpoint, like they should have 300 to 400 yards of offense. That's just what the Chargers are giving up, right? So you should be in the game. Now I'm worried about the defense coming in with that offense, because that offense in LA needs to get right and has a get right game. And look, I know how they have them playing well, but with Herbert coming in prime time, it's going to be interesting to see how they and Matt Eberflus come up with a plan to stop Justin Herbert on the other side of the ball.
Yeah, it's a different caliber of offense. The Bears defense has been playing well recently, but this is definitely a step up. And then I saw you had a tweet about it, and just curious, Brock Purdy doesn't look like the Brock Purdy that everyone made him out to be when there's no Debo and no Trent Williams out there.
Yeah. I mean, look, everyone, I thought for the most part, Brock has played really well through his starts and sort of come back down to earth a little bit here. And that honestly, in the long run of this offense, can be really good because he's got to understand, like, a couple of those throws were just forced, right? Like, didn't need to make them. Your defense is going to keep you in the game, even though Kirk Cousins threw for 650 yards or whatever it was against the San Francisco defense. Like, you're always going to have a chance. You're always going to have a shot. And he's had a shot the last 2 weeks with 2-minute drills. And honestly, the first week against the Browns, they should have won. The kicker missed it. And then last week was a little bit of, hey, okay, like, let's eat our medicine a little bit. And I got the breakdown coming tomorrow. Honestly, he started really well. It was the fourth quarter. Those 2 turnovers in the fourth quarter make all the difference in the world.
One last thing about Tyson Bagent. Can he, at this point, and his family, dream of a career like Chase Daniels? Like, could Tyson Bagent be a guy who is a desired backup in multiple teams for a long time?
Look, guys, I'm gonna toot my own horn here, and I'm just gonna say, like, I get this all the time. Like on Twitter, I'm scrolling Twitter all the time. All right, and I'm scrolling, and they're like, "Hey, this comp is Chase Daniel, the dude last 2 years in the league. Hey, this guy's comp Chase Daniel. He can be a premier backup in the league." Okay, how many other guys have done what I've done as a backup in this league and stayed around for so long and made that much money? Like, none. Okay, so like, let's cool it on the Chase Daniel comps. That's just my tandem and all this stuff. Like, I got to just put it out there, guys. Like, come on, like, give me a break. Now, he can have a good time and a good career in this league, but you got to be around. You got to make yourself known within this league to last as long. Look, I've had some luck. I've had some good plays, but at the end of the day, it's just not easy for everyone to do.
That's fair.
Say, I am Chase Daniel, and I'm a Hall of Famer at the bank.
Nah, well, you know that already. I don't need to say it.
See you, Chase. Thank you, sir.
Dig yourself.
Thank you, man.